Today we're going to be playing India, which in 2000 is in a very interesting position. This is still, there's still have a little remnants of the class system. It's mostly abolished, but there's a bit left. There's been massive social and political and economic upheaval in the country really over the last 50 years. During the crisis, when there was a suspension of the constitution under Indira Gandhi, that was around 30 years ago, which was a kind of an awakening of a lot of far right and far left movements. We are currently going to be playing with the BJP party, which is the Bharatiya Janata Party, which started as more of an umbrella group of far-right Hindu nationalists. It's kind of evolved over time. Originally, they had more of like a socialistic economic and political doctrine, but it has quickly changed into hardcore conservatism and far-right Hindu nationalism. Around 6 months ago, we signed the Lahore Declaration, which was a peace treaty with Pakistan after a minor war and border conflict up in Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir, which is a contested territory of northern India. It's claimed by the Chinese, the Pakistanis, and India, though India does more or less control it. Around a year ago, in I believe February of 1999, the Pakistanis crossed the border and infiltrated Jammu Kashmir, pretending to be Kashmiri rebels. It resulted in a minor war between Pakistan and India, which Pakistan thought that it would just completely destroy India. It had its ass handed to it essentially over 6 months. The Pakistanis were more or less routed. Now, already in this game's roleplay, I put out a post in our Discord channel, basically describing a border crossing by the Pakistanis. So around a week ago in the roleplay, at least what the Indian government is claiming, is that Pakistani troops crossed the line of control in Jammu Kashmir, like they've done several times previously, and broken the treaty. As such, we made a nuclear test, which we said, again, is not a declaration of war, it's not a declaration of nuclear intent, but rather a reminding of the Pakistanis of the power of nuclear weapons. So we are currently back to a very hostile position with the Pakistani government and military. And as such, we are going to be making a troop buildup on the Pakistani border. India's in a very bad place economically. We start with 81 factories, 45 civs, 8 dockyards, and 28 mills, as well as a few office complexes. But our nation is not nearly at its full potential. We are a massive country, geographically and population-wise. If we could modernize, if we could educate our people really well, because there's a lot of illiteracy, especially during 2000, we could become a world power, if not one of the greatest world powers. But there's a long ways to go. The British didn't develop India. Over the last 80 years, India has tried to develop, but it's very slow going without a lot of international support. So we are really one of the world's many sleeping giants, along with Brazil and large portions of Africa. So if we are able to modernize, if we are able to industrialize, we will be a world power.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
I wanted to talk about the tensions.
Mr. Musharat. First question I would like to ask you formally is why we saw your troops crossing the line of control and going into Kashmir. Not, I think, even a year after we signed the Lahore Declaration.
I think the whole issue with that is that we have no confirmation of our troops crossing the border. I think it's...
So you are unable to keep your troops under control? Is that what you're saying?
No, we are able to maintain control of our troops. It seems to be that India is not able to decipher its own propaganda from the truth.
You can claim it's propaganda all you want, but we understand the facts of the situation. So let me ask you again, why are you crossing the line of control after the Lahore Declaration?
Let me ask you again, why are you conducting nuclear tests when we are trying to reach out a hand to you?
You are very aware of the context of that nuclear test. It was a reminder to you of what you're dealing with, so I would ask that you get your troops under control.
Your government has blocked since 1948 a referendum on Kashmir. Your government is that blocks those...
Why would you have a Kashmir? It is Indian territory.
It is not Indian territory, it is Pakistani territory.
You can claim that all you want, but that doesn't give you the right to go into areas controlled by us, when we have made treaties defining these boundaries.
If India is continuously attacking Muslim majority in Kashmir, Pakistan will safeguard those people.
So, okay, well, I'm glad to hear you finally that you're admitting that you are doing this again. I'm glad to hear that you finally admitted it. At least that's a step. We can move on from there.
Mr.
But you have just claimed that you are willing to take action to protect these supposed Muslim minorities. As far as I'm aware, you just justified these actions that you just took, breaking yet another treaty. You know, I do question. Pakistan loves to talk about how it's not respected by the international community, but when you just throw away peace treaties and deals, and you don't act in good faith, you have to understand that's why the world does not respect your nation.
How can we be respected by, how can we respect peace treaties if Indian state terrorism takes place every day in Kashmir?
You can call it whatever you like, and you can justify your actions however you like. But both we know and the rest of the world knows that the only aggressive actor, the only bad actor in the Indian continent is Pakistan.
It's quite unfortunate, Mr. Vajpayee. I will make you aware that we have spoken with China, and China is on our side on this matter. China already is sending troops into Pakistan to train with our armed forces, so is Iran. We tried to reach out diplomatically, we tried this...
Remind me when the last time India made aggressive action against Pakistan. Go ahead and remind me, when did that happen?
The nuclear test you did.
Oh, did we test a nuclear warhead in your country, President?
Wait, Mr. Vajpayee, I think that you will continue to be hostile to Pakistan. I think that you will continue to deliver...
This is the man representing the country that has crossed our border repeatedly, and again recently, and declared war on us several times, and subjugated other peoples. I don't know what to say to you. I'll say what I always say. India is always willing to work with other countries and maintain peace, as long as they do not take aggressive action against us. As soon as you change your behavior, and you're willing to cooperate in good faith, we are happy to work with you yet again.
The only thing India is willing to work with people is when it's in India's favor. That's the only thing you will work for.
Peace is definitely in India's favor. I'd like to think it's in your nation's favor too, but if you don't see it that way, I don't know what to tell you.
If Kashmir and Ladakh still are occupied by the Indians, or by you, I should say, then we will have no agreement here. Kashmir and Ladakh are Pakistan.
So, okay, it's becoming more and more clear. This crossing of the border, this hostility, it's just yet another play to try and take away sovereign Indian territory. I understand now. I'm not surprised.
It is protect the Muslim majority in Kashmir. Mr. Vajpayee, we are not seeking any conflict with you. And
I was hoping that Pakistan would be a little less heavy-handed in their demands, but again, I'm seeing this for what it is, and frankly, I have nothing more to say to you. If you will take hostile action, breach territorial borders, just to try and annex territories with these silly justifications, the Republic of India has nothing to say to you. Hello there!
Okay.
Mr. Putin,
hello.
Did I catch you at a good time?
Yes, this is perfectly sensible. We were just discussing the current situation with NATO. Feel free to make your case.
Frankly, I have no case to make here. We have frankly a lot to discuss.
Go on then. We're all ears.
There's three main things I wish to discuss: the Pakistani situation, furthering economic ties and mutual investment to the BRICS system with you, and then lastly, just a discussion on the general state of things with China. So first off, I'm sure you've heard the news of Pakistan.
I have. I've heard several. You've had several heated debates with your counterpart in Pakistan over certain territorial disputes, I believe. The Russian Federation, while does not have a personal stake within the conflict itself, is perfectly happy to support friendly nation to Moscow. If the Indians are confident that this Russian support will provide stronger ties with the two nations in the future against potential outside threats, the Russians are more than capable, more than willing to support the Indians in as much as some exported military arms, even if required.
We would appreciate that greatly, though I think that the licenses that you're already giving us on your advanced military technologies are more than enough, which we are very thankful for.
The second situation you said was the situation within China, if I'm mistaken.
We could go over that one first. There's one more after that. But the situation with China, I'm not sure if you're aware, but China has backed the Pakistanis in this affair. In the beginning, they claimed to be backing the Pakistanis after the Pakistani president frankly admitted to them crossing the line of control in Kashmir. They've now claimed that they are instead a mediator in these talks. Regardless, China is supporting Pakistan, which we find very disappointing. We believe in the future of the BRICS system. We believe in solidarity with non-Western powers economically and politically, and we're very sad to hear that. I'm not wishing to start tensions with China. I would just hope that you, Mr. Putin, would be willing to talk with China and make them understand that relationships between one, non-aggressive nations and two nations that already have a framework built together should be prioritized over supporting the Pakistanis, which, frankly, to us was very, very disappointing to see from Beijing.
Indeed. As Russia must echo your disappointment in the fracturing of relations between our three great nations, Russia does not want to escalate or incite any kind of tension with China. Russia is currently receiving some economic support from China. We are happy to take up India's case and try to talk to China.
That is all we ask. We don't seek tensions with China. We have, obviously, some geopolitical issues with them, especially concerning Kashmir. Of course, but we are in the BRIC together. We value our economic ties with China, and we are both developing countries that could come to great power status. We seek only cooperation with Beijing, and we hope that through the respect that both of our nations have towards Russia, you could help to mediate that.
Of course, we will arrange a call with the Chinese delegates. If the Chinese, would we be able to invite a delegate from India if required?
Of course. I myself will come if you would ask. Last thing before I leave, I would like to suggest a BRIC meeting on the 1st of January 2001, if you would be willing to attend that.
Yes, either me or my Prime Minister here would be more than happy to attend.
Very well. Thank you for your time, Mr. Putin.
Of course.
Hello there.
Hello.
This is Prime Minister Vajpayee of the Republic of India.
How can the people of Brazil help you?
This is Mr. Cardosa, I believe.
Yes, this.
Wonderful. I wish to have a talk to you about several issues here, the first of which will be economic. I wish to ask the opinion of the Cardosa regime on the BRIC system that is beginning to form, the political and economic alliance, and see if you are still as committed as Russia, India, and I believe China as well are committed to continuing that agreement and expanding upon it.
Yes, I believe the emerging nations are important in today's world.
That's good to hear. India feels the same. That is why, as you know, India is a developing nation, one which seeks investment, as I know does Brazil. So I did wish to approach the government about the possibility of mutual investment, if that is something that your nation is capable of at this time.
I would have to look over my books. I believe it is. I'm not 100% sure currently.
Let's receive the paperwork. Wonderful. Mr. Cardosa, I am very happy to see that we continue our economic relationship. Let me state this very formally to you, sir. We view Brazil as one of our pinnacle allies and nations for which we can both develop to great power status together. So we look forward to future cooperation. Last thing I'd like to ask is if you would be available, we'd like to have a BRIC meeting on the 1st of January of 2001, if you'd be able to attend that.
I can attend the BRIC meeting. I can attend that BRIC meeting, if you don't mind.
That is completely fine.
Yep, we can definitely do that.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else you wish to discuss, President Cardosa?
Not at this time.
Thank you for your time. We will speak soon. All right, so Vice President, once we have the political power, let's go ahead and hold off on changing the tax code right now. I want us to go ahead and build a bigger bureaucracy in India. It would provide a lot of jobs for our people, and frankly, there's a lot of inefficiencies at the state and federal level in our country. We need to start to address those. So we need to save up 117 political power to go for an extensive, centralized, bureaucratic state. Wonderful.
I've also increased our government expenditure to extensive centralized bureaucrat state.
Wonderful. We have begun to rebuild and build properly our bureaucratic infrastructure in the government, which will be very good. So hopefully we can put some of that into the state governments as well, which, although they have a lot of autonomy and we will maintain that, need, frankly, a lot more support from us. Now we're going to work on strengthening the government.
Is there another expenditure that you want to increase, Mr. President?
I think the main focus now is that we focus entirely on the economy and get ourselves into an economic boom. That is of pinnacle importance to this administration.
Mr. Vajpayee, explain to me why Indian troops are shelling the Pakistani soldiers in the LOC.
No, we're not shilling you. You know that.
There's a news report of that.
Oh, good. So I hope you have pictures and proof to show us to the whole world. I'd love to see those. That's a picture of a firing artillery piece, which is I don't even know if that's Indian. Again, let me ask you again. Let's see the bodies. Let's see the specific evidence of your positions being shelled, and I'd love to see definitive proof that those shells are Indian as well. I assume you brought that to us when you came here.
No, I just got the news. There's
Oh,
still
interesting. Okay.
research being conducted.
Good. I look forward to seeing it.
Are you suggesting that Chinese troops are doing this? I mean, as far as I'm aware, there's only Pakistani and Indian troops in the line of control. And we didn't shell our own people, I can assure you that. So that only leaves me to believe that was India.
Are we gonna have a conversation now, or are you just gonna keep claiming I said things?
That is a conversation I'm asking you.
That's not what we call a conversation here in India. Let me know when you are ready to have diplomatic talks. I'm waiting.
Oh, I
Unless
know,
you just came here to monologue.
No, anyway, I was, well, I'm gonna condemn this, of course, and I will speak with the Chinese counterpart. I have one suggestion regarding the Kashmir situation.
I would love to hear it.
The suggestion is that Kashmir will be released as an independent state.
It is an autonomous region of the Republic of India, and it will stay that way.
Again,
Well, I understand that Pakistan doesn't have a habit of honoring its agreements, treaties, and promises, but in the past, it has been declared that the region of the autonomous region of Kashmir is underneath the control of the Republic of India. And I would ask in the future, although I know it is very hard for you, to honor what has been previously decided and agreed upon.
well, then leave me no choice.
What does that mean? Would you like to clarify your words on that?
I'll come back to you later, and then everything...
Before you walk off and start warmongering your own country, let me remind you yet again that we are both nuclear nations.
Let me remind you, Mr. Vajpayee, you have repeatedly sabotaging any attempts made by me to solve this crisis peacefully. As you repeatedly have, well, shut down any diplomatic solution, Pakistan has no choice but to look...
Let me make this very clear. The only one taking aggressive action here is you. As far as India is concerned, there is no action for us to take. We do not contend border lines. We do not try and push against your territory. We do not cross the line of control into Pakistani territory. So frankly, the only one who has to take action here is you. And that is to get your troops under control, if it was their own doing, or to have some serious talks within your own country about the future of your nation, and whether it be one that continues to take aggressive expansion towards regions that you have no business taking aggressive expansion in, or if you will, much like many other nations, focus on bettering the lives of your people and your nation.
One more thing before I leave. If shelling continues, or if there's any more incident, Pakistan will respond next time.
You will declare war and formally invade India.
No, we will shell back. That's all I'm gonna say.
Since there has been no shelling on our part, that would be a hostile action yet again by Pakistan. So I would ask you to consider very carefully your actions before you take them.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time as well.
Sorry about that. I was just finishing up things with the crisis in Pakistan, unfortunately.
I believe we're all here then.
I believe so.
Yes,
Yeah,
Zilla is
I
here.
will begin as the chairman of the POA. We will be representing China in this due to the chairman being busy with other issues. Now this is an economic agreement. We are worried that this may be shattered due to the rising tensions with India and Pakistan. And China is in open support of Pakistan. China is openly supporting Pakistan in this conflict. Though, and we fear because this, the conflict between India and Pakistan may destabilize BRICS.
It may destabilize the relationship of India with China due to your support of this aggressive nation, but our relationships with Russia and Brazil remain as strong as ever, as far as we see it.
Yes, but we have gotten reports that you have shelled Pakistani land.
Wonderful, and I'm sure that you have received proof from them for that, because we did not when they came to us claiming that.
Well, I mean, there is explosion marks near the border.
Indeed.
But I guess we should get more on track here on the.
I would like to very briefly say that this is an economic meeting, and although China may have issue with India in regards to that region, I know that China has had designs on Kashmir for quite some time. I would ask that in future meetings, you keep the politics out of the BRIC meeting. we can keep that situation separate and focus on our economic relationships within the BRIC group.
Apologies. I pointed against India. It was me who suggested we bring this up to the BRIC meeting, as I thought it was the best time. It would be the best place for a dialogue to be opened up between the relevant powers. That is my mistake and not the Chinese government. So I do apologize for that.
I just wish that you'd made us aware before we walked into this meeting that we'd be having this discussion.
Apologies. I thought it was given, but apparently it wasn't.
Indeed, because I came to this meeting assuming that we'd be talking about economics, which is the, correct me if I'm wrong here, the primary purpose of BRIC, is it not?
Yes, it is.
We will begin with the economic issue then for now.
I would like to very briefly say I have great respect for you, Mr. Putin. I have great respect for Russia, but I would ask that again. We do have these political peace talks surrounding Pakistan and the Chinese issue separately. I'd be happy to have it right after this meeting, but I would like to disentangle the messy politics of this away from the BRIC economic agreement. Is that reasonable?
Yes, of course.
I would like to make another suggestion, though, completely out of this. India's already provided an investment into Russia. The way we see it, BRICS is a commitment to the developing powers of the world, one which are not included within the political and economic apparatus of the West, and it is our duty to look after each other. We have all been hit by the late 90s recession, though some of us have bounced back stronger than others, including India. I would like to formally propose that the nations gathered here today support Russia economically by providing whatever investments they feel necessary in order to help rebuild the Russian economy after the economic collapse, obviously after the USSR, and now with the recent bubble collapse. India is willing to commit another 20 billion in investments to Russia in order to ensure that their economy can regrow after this recession. I'd like to invite and propose that the other BRIC members consider doing the same. We must look after each other economically.
Of course, Russia would support any financial investment and support to help aid the economy. We will eventually repay your support in kind when you require it. Russia's economy is slowly starting to recover. However, to put ourselves online with a proper state of recovery, we will still require some more financial support. If any BRICS member can provide it, we will be more than appreciative of it. Russia is very happy with the current situation as it has developed. We would like to encourage any further financial investment if at all possible. However, we do appreciate that each leader of BRICS has their own economy and country to attend to, so we will not obviously force such cooperation upon them.
Is there anything else any of the BRIC members would like to discuss?
That's it.
Very well.
Nope, I do believe.
But I believe that we can conclude this meeting. I would like to now. I believe that we're going to have a talk between Russia, China, and my government. I believe is going to happen after.
Hello, my Prime Minister. We have agreed to host talks regarding the Chinese and Indian dispute within Moscow as neutral ground, as I believe it's the best way we can reach a diplomatic solution.
Okay.
Thank you for having us here in Moscow, Mr. Putin.
No worries, of course. I believe this is the Chinese delegate who's just arrived.
Yes, my presence was needed. The actual General Secretary of the...
I would like to, Mr. Turnsieben, before we continue, I would like to communicate what I said to your minister very briefly. In the future, we would request that you actually show up at BRIC meetings, as we do feel that they are of importance enough that we should have a leader of China represented there, not just a minister.
Yes, that is fine.
The other nations of the world saw fit to send their own leaders, and in the future, we'd ask China to do the same.
Yes, that is fine. Right. So, apparently, what are we discussing about?
The current dispute is over the claimed violence across the Indian-Pakistan border and the dispute over Kashmir, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that's a separate conversation. The issue, I believe, is the souring of tensions between Delhi and Beijing after China's support for the very, frankly, aggressive Pakistani nation's actions in Kashmir.
So, we did try to mediate with one of your delegates you sent to us, President of India. We tried to see a peaceful matter that would resolve the Kashmir issue, which has been a ongoing issue ever since India and Pakistan have been a nation. Well, ever since India and Pakistan was split. but it seems that my retorts of trying to get a peaceful resolution, which would have been a actual vote in Kashmir, has fallen on deaf ears.
That's a non-starter, and if you want to have that conversation, frankly, the Indian government has nothing to say to you.
Yes, we've understood that. So, as we would wish that maybe a outside power, since it seems that Pakistan is claiming that you shelled them and other things, it would be advised that we maybe invite someone outside of China, India, and Pakistan to oversee the borders.
That we could agree to.
Currently, the way the situation seems to be is that the Pakistani government seems to have struck first against the Indian government in an act of aggression,
As they have done every time before.
While the Chinese delegate may say that Pakistan has a rightful claim to the area, and resorting to such violent actions without any proper cause, it cannot really be acceptable. And if India chooses to defend itself, well, that's not really anything the Chinese nor Russian.
The minister, the president of Pakistan himself, when we were in a meeting, it was recorded for all to know. The words he specifically said when we made these claims, after we pressed them hard enough, were Pakistan is willing to take any action necessary to stop the repression of Muslims in Kashmir in response to my claims they crossed the line of control, which to us is an admittance. And I heard that he said something similar in talks with the Chinese as well. So given his clear statement that these actions were provocated by Pakistan, I really want to ask, and I'd like an answer from the chairman, why China continues to support Pakistan's aggression. I know that we have had our own issues. I know you lay your own claims to Kashmir, but I do not know why you are seeking such hostile relations with India.
Would the Chinese delegate like to respond?
That would be on the chairman.
Sorry, my screen was bugging out. What was said?
Would the delegate from India like to repeat his statement?
It would not.
Sorry,
Why the question was made? Why you continue to support Pakistan?
We continue to support Pakistan. One is the issue of Afghanistan. As we've known, both the Afghanistans have been embroiled in a somewhat, frankly, worrying civil war with one another, and we're trying to make sure that Pakistan and Chinese borders are secure from any
So in order to ensure border security, you support another nation that is breaking border security. That's an interesting perspective on that, I must say.
We are going to be launching an investigation to see, and Pakistan's already asked us to do this.
If you haven't even launched an investigation into this issue, why are you supporting Pakistan without an investigation, with no clear proof or understanding of the situation?
The Russian delegate would also like to know this. An investigation.
This is, frankly, even more worrying than I expected. I thought you would have a reason. You know that we seek only peace with your country. You know we seek only cooperation. So why do you continue to support Pakistan? You're coming up with every reason you can to be hostile to us, and frankly, it's unfounded. I really am struggling to understand your mindset here, and I can't.
We are supporting Pakistan defensively.
But they are not a defensive country. They are taking aggressive action towards our nation, so that statement has no credence behind it. Let me ask again, China. You haven't even launched an investigation into that situation, and you're accusing us? No evidence has been brought to the table by Pakistan.
There is explosion marks near the quote-unquote site of attack. There is explosions on
Wonderful. And since you're bringing this accusation to us without investigation, I assume that the Pakistanis must have given you definitive proof to make these claims. We'd love to see it. Can you give it to us now, Ambassador?
I would also like to see this evidence if you provide it.
Once our investigation.
We will set a spy into Pakistan to look into.
Okay, so that's a response saying that you don't have any proof. Thank you for clarifying. Wonderful. Now, can we move past these false accusations and get to the bigger issue here? Let me say definitively that India is not interested in more hostile relations with China. Pakistan has shown aggression. Even with Pakistan, we seek to work with them. We've made that clear time and time again, but they are a bad actor. But despite everything they have done, we seek to cooperate with them. China, I know, again, there is the Kashmir issue, but besides that, we are in the BRIC together. We are both developing nations, which have been exploited in the past. We wish to cooperate with you. We do not want this hostility. We do not want these accusations going towards us. We made none against you. We do not want this situation. We wish to cooperate with your government. So why are you making that so hard?
Mr. Secretary.
Sorry, I am trying to deal with stuff that's going on with
If the chairman could give his time to this meeting, we would greatly appreciate that.
With all due respect, Chairman, this meeting is of critical importance.
This is the future of India-Chinese relations being discussed right now. If you have other matters that you would rather attend to, perhaps that we not waste anyone's time here.
We will you will have our reply once the
We are here discussing now, Chairman.
Yes, and I'm saying I'm launching an inquiry into
The United Nations acknowledges the representative from the United States.
Hello. Yes, welcome to, we thank you to the invitation to the UN. Now, we'd just like to claim that, the 2000 elections were a fraud. Whistleblowers leaked information that the internal government had their hands within changing the votes within Nebraska. Now, this is a illegitimate government that is currently ruling. The Democratic government is currently ruling America. Now, when this news came out, there were many protests and many riots all over the nation. This led to instability, and they declared martial law. This was the last insult to the workers of the United States, and why we have taken action today.
United Nations calls upon the speaker from Russia.
Greetings, most esteemed members of the United Nations. This is the representative from the Russian Federation. We must make it very clear that we oppose NATO expansion in any direction eastwards, while we fully understand the existential threat that this imperialist, nationalistic Ottoman Empire poses to nations around it, and Russia will move in to protect said nations if they come under threat. It frankly is not NATO's concern to protect these nations. If NATO is concerned with the sovereignty of the nations surrounding Turkey, we would appreciate if they would come discuss it with the Russian Federation rather than unilaterally breaking their agreements with the Russian Federation and expanding NATO eastwards. It seems to me that this is merely a casus belli for them to expand NATO. We are also concerned about the German government suddenly seizing control of NATO, as it brings back quite painful memories of wars long past, and we would urge the German government to reconsider and perhaps take their diplomatic steps more carefully. We of course condemn the nationalistic and fascistic state of the new Ottoman Empire, and will oppose expansion wherever it is found. We would also like to offer condolences to the civilians of the American states who are engaged in civil war, and would like to offer humanitarian aid to the most affected areas. Thank you.
The UN calls upon the speaker from China.
Greetings. As you can see, the US is now in a state of civil war for the second time. China wishes to also formally announce that it will be becoming a blue water navy by 3 years' time. We would also wish to announce that we will be reinforcing the rule that, as it seems to be, the Pope has forgot his diplomatic stature within the world, that the one China policy will be reinforced, with the US being distracted. That is all.
Thank you. Thank you. The UN calls upon the speaker from Pakistan.
Thank you. The international community should not ignore such continued manifestations of Indian irresponsibility, loose talks, and undiluted hostility towards Pakistan. The continued concoction of doomsday theory to justify Indians' use of nuclear blackmail. We will not see any aggression of Indian troops towards Pakistani people or Pakistani soldiers in they'll see again. Thereby, I will announce that every 2 months from now on, Pakistani jets will fly over Kashmir to underscore a claim to this region. Thank you.
Lastly, the UN calls upon the speaker from India. I find it very troubling, the recent words and actions from the Pakistani government. It was around a year ago that we signed the Lahore Declaration to stop the Pakistani invasion of Kashmir, which India, as always, walked to the table and sought peace. We have had repeated offensives and hostile actions from Pakistan ever since the splitting of our two nations, and history will validate the fact that India is never the aggressor. As to the recent invasion and the breaking of the lines of control in Kashmir by the Pakistanis, as always, we are committed to peace. However, their recent statement as to flying jets over the Kashmir region, I know the Pakistani government may not understand the international laws very well, but going into the airspace of another foreign country is the same as crossing a border, and any jets to fly over Kashmir that are not Indian will be shot down. We also find it very disturbing that China is supporting Pakistan. Recently, there was a high-level summit orchestrated by our good friends in Russia to try and ease ties between us and China, wherein, after hours of meetings, China could give no valid reason as to why they supported Pakistan, though we asked repeatedly. They also made suggestions that they would pull troops off the border, yet we continue to see Chinese troops on our border in eastern India. India is a nation committed to peace. We are committed to the responsibility that our nuclear weapons give us, and seek only economic expansion and friendly relations with our countries. We will continue to pursue this policy. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. All right, at this point, there will be a Security Council meeting, so if you're a permanent member or a rotating member currently on the Council in 2001, you can head down to the Security Council. For everyone else, we will continue with the game. Thank you all for coming.